Everybody, welcome to the HPWH Residential Working Group call for November 2025. I am Joe Wachunas here with you from New Buildings Institute. I'll be emceeing today's residential working group. Excited to have you all with us. Hope folks are doing awesome. Let's get to our antitrust compliance statement. As we usually begin our meetings, the Advanced Water Heating Initiative is a member-supported collaborative of professionals from across the U.S. This diverse membership includes numerous competitors, and care must be taken to scrupulously abide by federal and state antitrust laws. Members should remember that antitrust compliance is important at all times. At this and other HPWH meetings, participants should not discuss competitive pricing, profitability, allocating markets or customers, or promotion of a particular product or accessory. Great. Well, we've got a fun and exciting agenda today. We'll get through our welcome, and then we will talk to Davi Ibarra from SCE. We're going to talk about the ESA program and their success with heat pump water heaters. If you joined us for Heat Pump Water Heater Day, you may have seen that they won an award for Heat Pump Water Heater Day, so excited to dive into their program a little more on the residential working group. Then we're going to talk to Kent Lloyd from Palmetto. Palmetto is a company that is launching some heat pump water heater and other electrification technology financing. And they also just acquired the Cool Down, which is a big marketing agency that does a lot of articles on electrification technologies, including heat pump water heaters. So we'll hear from Kent Lloyd to close out our hour. So yeah, let's do a couple announcements here and then we'll dive into the program. So hopefully y'all joined us for Heat Pump Water Heater Day 2025, which has already been almost a month, but it was awesome. We had over 1,000 attendees across the week in our many events. We'll put a link in the chat to the all the great content was there. The nice thing about doing it online is it all lives on in recordings, so you can get access to the slides and the content. It all should be up there. Almost 70 panelists, incredible. Tons of orgs posting online, almost 30,000 Substack and website views, and lots of recording views as well. So it's been great. I wanted to call attention to a particular session. There were so many great sessions on Heat Pump Water Heater Day. Sometimes it's challenging to absorb all that content at one time. My colleague Vidisha, who's here in the room as well, put together a great session on split heat pump heaters. You can access that live link. We had Daikin on, we had A.O. Smith, we had Eco2 Systems, and am I missing anyone, Vidisha, on that session? Oh, and we also had Ecological on as well. So it was a really great manufacturer roundtable. Really gave you up-to-date information on split heat pump water heaters. Make sure you check out that session. There's a recording right there. It was really good. Okay, and just wanted to also flag, we just released a Heat Pumps and Cardigans episode, webcast, videocast, an article with Navien, who has brought to market their first heat pump water heater. So that went live today. You can access the YouTube link there and the article. Pretty exciting stuff. You can see they did this is their first foray into a tank system that's all electric. So that's exciting, but they're bringing some of the their trademark manufacturing that they've done for instant gas water heaters, including a stainless steel tank and a in-house produced recirc pump with their tank, which is going to be exciting. One of the first we've seen of those. So make sure you check out the YouTube video and the article for Navien, and let us know what you think. Okay, well, that is it. Kind of a short list of announcements for today. I want to just double check that Davi Ibarra is on the line. Davi, I see you here. So if you could come on camera, I want to introduce Davi from Southern California Edison to talk about the Energy Saving Assistance Program and their work in getting hundreds and thousands of heat pump water heaters in the market. Yeah, great, Davi. I see you took control of the screen. Thanks for being on, and take it away.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Joe.
Sorry, I think I took it back by accident. You take that again.
All right, great. Thank you.
I still think I'm owning it. Sorry, do you have control? I think so. One more time. Did you take control of the screen before, Davey?
Let's see.
There's a button at the top that
Yeah.
wasn't there. Perfect. Yeah. Now you can drive the slides. Okay. Thanks so much.
All right.
Well,
Great.
we want
Thank
it to
you.
go well, so
I mean, I don't mind getting some learnings if there are any to have there.
yeah.
But
Or you
Just a
may
reminder
want
to folks to mute yourselves. Cooper, I think you were the guilty one on that one. Okay, Davey, I will mute folks. Over to you.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, everyone. I'm here. My name is Davi Ibarra, and I'm a senior advisor at Southern California Edison. And today I'm going to share a little bit of the program here, the Energy Savings Assistance Program, and what we've done to advance heat pump water heaters in our low-income community. So first off, Southern California Edison, it is one of the largest investor-owned utilities. It's an electric-only type utility. We serve approximately 50 million customers within a 50,000 square foot or square mile service territory. The Energy Savings Assistance Program supports approximately 1.3 million income qualified customers. And from a gamut of energy efficiency and now electrification at no cost. It is a direct install program. And of course, these activities and these services are intended to lower our customers' energy usage and, of course, in the process, improve their health, comfort, and safety by participating. So just a little bit of background on the Energy Savings Assistance Program, or sometimes referred to as ESA, or sometimes ESA or ESTA. But in any case, it's like I mentioned, it is an income qualified program that's available to both homeowners and renters in our service territory, and it offers the opportunity to replace inefficient electric appliances, since we are an electric only utility. So inefficient electric appliances, or like I said, electrification. We will replace natural gas appliances with energy efficient or high efficient equipment. And that ranges from, of course, we're here to talk about heat pump water heaters. That's one of the key items. However, we also offer other measures such as heat pump HVAC, electric dryers, induction cooking, refrigerators. Weather station includes of insulation, and even light bulbs, for example. And as part of that offering, when necessary, we may even also upgrade their panels. And those are the images kind of like you see down below. And so, as I mentioned before, this program is offered at no cost to our customers, and it covers from the home assessment to the purchasing of the equipment, installation, and including the permits that are required by local jurisdiction. So what does a customer have to do to receive all these great equipment and services? Well, they do have to meet our income qualification. And for those that are doing electrification, they will need to go through our bill and rate analysis, and that's just to ensure that the estimated bill savings from electrification, it does not negatively impact them. So that is one key aspect in our delivery for electrification, is that we want to ensure that what we're providing the customers at the end of the day is helping them and not hurting them, and hurting them in the sense of their pocket, right, their bottom line. So here's just a quick guidelines as far as our income qualification, just to put it in perspective of what are we talking about when we talk about income qualifications. A customer, there can be income qualified in two methods. One of them is they show proof that there's a household member that participates in one of these authorized public assistance programs, or they can go through the income guidelines. And our income guidelines are based on 250% federal poverty guidelines. So here is where we wanted to talk about, right? Heat pump water heaters. What have we done? So in the Energy Savings Assistance Program, and we're going back as far as 2023, we started slow. I mean, we weren't really doing that many heat pump water heaters. And as you can see, in 2023, we had like 26 heat pump water heaters installed, and we started slowly, gradually increasing that. Where 24, we were at 781, and this year alone, we've already installed over like 2,400 water heaters. And of course, in regards to the conversion of that, it turns into like about 5,100 metric tons of reduction in emissions, lowering our carbon footprint. And obviously for us, what's critical is really the importance of lowering our customers' utility cost, right? So, and then not only lowering it, but also introducing these energy efficient measures and electric measures to our customers. So that's a really key aspect. And I'll kind of cover a little bit of what it is that, how we go about in delivering these services to our customers. So the customer journey and support, it is where SCE contracts with a network of licensed contractors to implement the program. And the contractors, they manage each step of the project themselves. So Edison promotes the program. We do all the marketing. We put it out. Obviously we do email campaigns, direct mailers. We do social media. We try to get the word out there for our customers, because as good as this program is in the sense of offering these services at no cost, customers are still skeptic. It's hard to believe. Like, where's the catch when you say no cost and free and stuff like that? So it still takes a lot of work to try to, motivate the customers to really take that step. So ultimately, from the outreach and enrollment, where again, the contractors perform the eligibility criteria, to the home assessment, which is a walkthrough of the home to gather the information of their existing equipment and ultimately what may be feasible for this customer. To the installation, which is, like I said, the contractors will procure the equipment, obtain the permits, all the way through the inspection. And there's two inspections, of course. There's our SCE inspection, but also the local jurisdiction to finalize the permits. And so all this work from beginning to end could range anywhere between 60 to 90 days for our customers. And that's a key aspect of ensuring that customers that are willing and interested in participating, they see actual work being done, or they see movement, because to just introduce the program and provide all this information, and if it takes a long time, that's where it does start, building some skepticism and stuff. So, but of course, that being said, this 60 to 90 day average, is all dependent also on, situations that may be somewhat out of control, right? Which is like product availability, customer availability with the scheduling, and of course, if there's electrical panel upgrades necessary. Earlier, I did mention about our participants, homeowners and renters. So with renters, they will just participate the same way, but the only caveat is that there is a property owner authorization that would be required to be filled out by both the tenant and the owner. And that's to authorize the works to be performed. And lastly, there is what's called a tenant protection agreement. And that's just to ensure that there's no, reason that, the rents are increased, or there's evictions, because now that all these upgrades have been performed at this dwelling, that all of a sudden, like these situations occur. So there's these type of agreements that are necessary just to protect that situation. So again, just key takeaways in regards to that ramp up in our delivery of heat pump water heaters. We definitely invested in our comprehensive training programs. That's kind of starting from the beginning, where we knew contractors were aware of what a heat pump water heater is. Some may have installed a few here and there, but it was important for us to develop a training curriculum that can be offered to not only our contractors, but also the community-based organizations, to ensure that they understood what the technology is, how it works, and then how to communicate that to the customers at the end of the day to help them understand. So in doing so, it goes to the next step, which removing adoption barriers, where I mentioned we're eliminating the upfront costs, or any cost really at the end of the day for the customers, but it's how do you provide this information and educate the customers to understand what it is. So community and education outreach, that's really important, again, because those are sometimes the organizations that are out there, grassroots, engaging customers on a day-to-day basis. So we're just trying to get the word out, and make sure everyone understands what it is that's being done, how it's done, and ultimately, building that customer trust, because the key aspect in why we focus also on training and that workforce development is because you have to have also not only the product and the services that you're promoting, but it also has to be done in a quality manner, because you want this to be a cycle, right? Or not a cycle, but something that is you it's kind of like the washing, right? You rinse and you repeat. It's like you kind of keep on doing it, because and what aspect is that is important is the quality of installation. So if the contractors that are performing the are doing it in a quality manner, then this product the way it's intended, and it's delivering the services and the benefits as intended. It helps to them build that trust with their customers, because they know it's not a faulty equipment, because obviously the contractor did the work in installing it correctly. It helps the contractor because they avoid having to do that second visit or third visit or what troubleshooting, going back out there to the customer's home, which again, there is no compensation typically when they're going out there and doing service calls. So it's very important, to focus on these fundamental and foundation in delivering these services, especially like with the heat pump water heater. So lastly, again, hopefully, thank you for the opportunity to present a little bit more details on the Energy Savings Assistance Program. I know it kind of went through it relatively quick. There's so much that we do that I would love to spend more time with everyone here to share more in depth, but nonetheless, thank you again for the recognition and the opportunity to share a little bit of what we've done and how we went about it. So definitely open it up to some questions, if any. Thank you.
Yeah, Davi, we're getting a lot of good questions in the chat. So thanks so much for coming on. And folks, either feel free to put your questions in the chat or raise your hand if you want to ask your question live. I'll go through the order. And just a congratulations again, Davi, on the winning our Equity Award for the Excellence in Water Heating Awards for 2025. And you can see why. That's a huge jump in installations. Wow, 20 or 2,000, excuse me, already over 2,000 in 2025. That's amazing. Well, let's just go down the order here. Jessica is wondering about, does SCE work with any community action programs and agencies during the process? Are there multiple sources of funding to cover the upgrades? You talked about community-based organizations, but what about community action programs?
Yeah, so we at Edison, Southern California Edison is a regulated utility. So there's a Public Utilities Commission that we are governed under, and the budgets that we have are allocated in a manner that we are able to cover so many, homes in a given period of time. However, it's not to say that we don't leverage other external funding sources that are available out there for work that's being done here, especially with California, and we're in the southern area. There are multiple programs that are state-funded programs that are rolling out that we are looking for those opportunities to coordinate and really see how we can utilize those dollars to serve more customers, because at the end of the day, we're pretty much touching the same kind of customer and providing the same service. So we're trying to find those methods to synchronize in a way that we're not stepping on each other's toes. And if there's ways to either, maybe cover the cost of the material and the other entity covers the labor, ways to just split that funding and, like I said, just make it go further in serving the customers that we have here in Southern California.
Okay, great. Well, on that question of numbers, I'm going to jump around a little bit here with the questions in the chat, but Jim is wondering about how many customers in SCE territory are estimated to qualify for this program. And there's a second part to his question, but any ideas on how many that could qualify?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned earlier, there's about 1.3 million customers in our service territory that are income qualified, and those numbers, again, those are based on census data and studies that provide us that kind of baseline to know what is that potential customers out in our territory. So yeah, so it's about 1.3.
Okay, so it's a large number. Okay, and
Absolutely.
then given the low prices, this is Jim's second part of his question. Given the low prices for gas from SoCal Gas, how can operating costs be lower in switching to a heat pump? You've got that we call the
That's
spark
a
spread. Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
great question. Yeah, yes. So we do when a customer switches out, again. So here's a little tidbit, and like I said, unfortunately, didn't get a chance to really go in more depth. Is that the program when we're doing electrification? So that's where we're going from gas to electric. That's where the bill rate analysis is as a key factor in ensuring that the customer is not negatively impacted. However, water heater is not the only measure that's provided. So with us being electric only, we are banking on having these customers also replace their space heating. So you are having a lot more savings on the space heating than that you can tuck in a water heater, you could tuck in the induction or clothes dryer, etc. From that perspective. However, the difference when it's just solely a heat pump water heater because the customer really wants to go ahead and replace that gas to electric scenario. It's minimal in the sense of where it could be anywhere like $15-20 approximately or so. And the reason, and again, that those dollars aren't vetted in any way, but the reason I say that threshold is because aside from offering those services, we also have rates. Rates is also a factor in how you can get bill savings. So we also promote our rates, which are time of use rates. So this way, the heat pump water heater is set at off-peak hours. In addition to that, Edison does have what's called an allowance for heat pump water heaters. So if a customer does get a heat pump water heater, there's also an allowance that's provided on their rates to ensure again that additional bill savings. So yeah, so I know that the pricing isn't always one-to-one per se, and it's a no-brainer. There is some additional massaging in how we promote and deliver the services to our customers to ensure that bill savings is achieved.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for that. It seems like a lot of pathways to achieve those bill savings. Okay. Even in a challenging spark spread market. Okay. I'm going to try to go through. We're getting a lot of questions, so I'll try to be quick. Jessica then was asking, would love to hear more about the property owner authorization process that SCE has in place. Having multiple decision makers can become complex. Anything to say on that?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely so. There's a finesse on how you also work with property owners, and again, especially when you're dealing with tenants. The one thing I didn't mention is that right now these services are single family and mobile home type dwellings that we're serving. Multifamily is also served, but in multifamily there are other complexes as well with with mobile homes. And that's with the type of equipment that's available. But just overcoming the property owner authorization component is really sometimes it's not as difficult as it may seem because it's the property owner that may see the benefits of what we're doing and the upgrades are getting ultimately at no cost to them as a property owner. And sometimes we have a situation, or most of the time we have a reverse situation where property owners want to participate, but we're like, hey, well, that's great, but it's your tenant that has to be income qualified to participate. So that's where sometimes it's a challenge because at the end of the day, you can't force a customer to participate, even if they're a tenant. So we have it already. We've been doing this for quite some time. I think it's over 25 years, and yeah, we have our property owner forms and just as of maybe the last 2 years, we've introduced this tenant protection agreement again for the purposes of what's called like the split incentive, where who's benefiting and to avoid those uncomfortable situations where price increase in rents and also the evictions and so forth. So,
got it. Okay. I'm going to just jump in here with a quick question of my own. What are the top reasons you think can account for this, this large programmatic growth in heat pump water heater installations? What would you say are the biggest reasons that led you to these bigger numbers this year?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, it's really that training.
Okay.
training of our contractors. It's really, and it's not only training on installation, having hands-on training on how to properly install and the quality of installation, but it was also the education behind the water heater and the benefits, because I think the customer or the contractors were able to answer maybe like the first round of questions that a customer may have. Well, why should I get a heat pump water heater, right? Or how does it work? But then beyond that, they were just kind of like, I don't know. So I think it's that. So it goes beyond just the technical aspect of it, of learning and understanding, but it was also educating and training the contractors, the community-based organizations on, and not how to sell it, but really how to educate the customer on the benefits. It's really how to promote it. I think that's a key aspect in what has driven the numbers to jump up significantly. Is that
Wow.
we're just
Cool.
having more, you know, properly trained and confident. I would say that it's the confidence in the players here that are involved, the stakeholders that really helped us really start ramping up.
Okay, that's great, Davi. Wow, contractor training is so key. We always know that, but here's some proof. Wow. Well, I'm going to go to Cooper's second question because I think it encompasses his first. Does this program engage local? So speaking of contractors, does this program engage local small business community-centered contractors? Must contractors have responded and been awarded a contract in RFP process, or can any licensed contractor easily participate with a bare minimum of extra paperwork? A couple of questions.
Yes. So this is where we contract with licensed contractors, and the way we've done this is through a competitive solicitation, and we've onboarded about 10 or 11 licensed contractors in the last competitive bid. So that's the typical way, and so the way any licensed contractor that may be interested in participating is they would just need to go through our Edison's supply management process and getting enlisted there and provide all the necessary requirements, and then they will be activated or at least notified once we go out to bid to extend this program in the future. So just a tidbit, this program is right now scheduled to run through the end of 26 with a potential bridge funding, what we call bridge funding. So it's a gap year of 27, so extending to 27. So with a new application, so for a new cycle is from 2028 through 2033. That's the next kind of window. So maybe sometime before 28, where we may have an opportunity to onboard potential new players in this program.
Gotcha. And I guess while we're there, I'm just going to go to another question I saw. While you're working with contractors, do you do anything like fixed pricing for the installations to reduce costs from contractors, or bulk purchases of heat pump water heaters since you're buying over, 2,000?
Yeah. There's two. It's two ways. So what we like to do with our program is not be stuck in just one process. We like to have flexibility in the way we deliver the program, because you sometimes are going to come across scenarios that you're like, oh, you can't do this, and now you have to go through the whole process of modifying a contract to introduce a new measure and so forth. So we do it, and when I say both ways, is that we also do bulk purchasing. So we have also done a competitive bid for like heat pump water heaters and all the equipment we offer. So this is to help the contractors from a capital perspective, where they don't have to front all this cost, up front. All they have to worry about is their labor. So they get our compensation is done at the end of the project. So once the permit is finalized. So in that regards, it does help contractors when we have the bulk purchasing agreement with the suppliers for these measures. So they get sent, the equipment gets delivered to the respective contractors, and they perform the work accordingly. But we also have another path where we do also allow contractors to procure their own equipment, because they may have already some established agreements, and they may get the pricing more competitively than Edison. But again, understanding that they do have to front the cost, and they'll get compensated at the very end. But that option does give the flexibility to also allow various brands and models, to the program itself. So again, we leave that open and flexible from that perspective, because we don't want to like just put someone in a box and say now you have to work within this parameters. But typically the pricing, when it comes down to pricing, we do like to negotiate it and have like fixed pricing for an all-inclusive work. So where we say here's the scope, and we want a pricing for what's going to be from beginning to end to do this work. And one of the other aspects I'll just really mention here really quick is warranty. Warranty is also key in our perspective, because that leads to safety and ensures proper installations. That we also expect to have an extended warranty on not only the material itself, typically for heat pumps, 5-10 years, et cetera, but we want the contractor to be responsible for that warranty for at least 2 years. So that means parts and labor. So they'll be responsible for figuring out what's wrong with it. If something does malfunction, they'll get the parts, they'll go out there, they'll do it, and so forth. So we do try to consider everything that a customer may experience, at least within those 2 years, for the purposes of ensuring that, hey, they have a great experience and it's not something as a result because of a faulty product. So
that seems super smart, Davi. Yeah, just anecdotally from some of our conversations, it does seem like the challenges, any challenge with heat pump water heaters would come up in the first 2 years. So that's great to have that extended warranty. Okay, I'm going to give us a couple more minutes to see if we can get a couple more questions in. John was asking about multifamily properties. Can multifamily properties, affordable housing, take advantage of this program as well?
Yes. So this year, unfortunately, the way the program was structured, multifamily segment was sort of like this standalone program. But we're hoping that in the next program application that I mentioned, we'll kind of bring it back in-house so it's all one single program. But yes, absolutely, multifamily segment does, or multifamily segments can participate in the assistance program.
And Tom's asking, what type of actions does the program take to help electrify on existing 100 amp panels? Like, for example, there's the 120 volt heat pump water heater. So talk to us about.
Yeah. So again, in some capacity, in some cases, like say we're doing electrification, we will cover right now the cost of the panel upgrade, so from 100 to 200. And I'm not suggesting that or implying that every water heater installation requires a panel upgrade, because that's not the case. I'm just saying when in the scope of things where we're doing more than just say a water heater and it requires a panel upgrade, we will cover those costs for the panel upgrade. We are aware of a 120 volt type of equipment. We are, looking at that option, in certain circumstances only. And the reason would be, again, it's the customer behavior aspect of it that's important to us, right? Where if you install 120 a water heater, which is a great option for when you have a 100 amp panel, then that's great. However, we also want to ensure that the customer's experience isn't negatively impacted, because now it may take longer to heat up that water, especially if there's a household of, 4 or more in the household, and they're taking showers all, in the evening or in the mornings, and it's like you run out of hot water, right? It's like you don't want to have that negative situation be a cause for why the customer is not satisfied with the water heater. So aside from just looking at the panel or the infrastructure aspect of what can be installed with the given infrastructure, we're also looking at performances from a behavior standpoint of how many people are in the household to properly size and or install a 120. And similarly, I'll just kind of indicate right now is that I mentioned earlier for mobile homes is that as an example of what we're having a challenge right now, because these water heaters don't fit in the closet. So we have to go with a split system. So right now you see in my background, that's our heat pump water heater lab. And we have various water heaters that we're testing out, including on the split system, because we are looking to ensure that we can provide a product in mobile homes that's going to perform in that same capacity. Because we had situations where obviously we are governed also by entity here in California that regulates where heat pump water heaters are installed. And as of right now, they say that the water heater still must remain in that closet. So that closet doesn't provide ample space in those situations. So that's where we're looking for this alternate option.
That's really fascinating, Davi, and I want to make sure we stay in close touch. We're HWHI is doing some field studies with split heat pump water heaters, and yeah, excited about that, the building type of manufactured housing and how they could work well there. So interesting and cool to see you all have a heat pump water heater lab. That's great. I love it. The last thing I would just say is for the 120 volt question, I don't know if you've seen, there are now flexible voltage 120, 240 volt water heaters in the same unit that can be then, you can start at 120, plug it in, and then upgrade it to 240 later. So that might be something to check out as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're staying abreast of any and all options out there, like I said, because we like when we can implement the program with that flexibility, and it's really the way we're trying to lay it out is that customer journey where a customer may not necessarily be looking at fully electrification. So what are the options available for that customer and how we can start introducing some of those measures, such as the water heater in that capacity without having to incur the cost, let's say if we needed to upgrade their panels and so forth with it for a 240, so yeah, so absolutely, we're definitely trying to stay abreast of all the new ways to have that flexible voltage. So
awesome. Well, let's stay in close touch. Thanks for the amazing work. Guess what? There are a couple more questions that we didn't get to. If you could check them out in the chat, that would be fantastic, and respond to any that we weren't able to get to. We could keep talking forever, Davi, but thanks so much. Congratulations again on your win this year. And yeah, we'll look forward to hearing more in the program in the future.
Great.
So
thank you so much.
Great. Well, great. Well, thanks so much to Davi again. I'm going to now turn it over to our other guest today, Kent Lloyd from Palmetto. Kent and Palmetto came onto our radar screen through their acquisition of the media outlet, the Cool Down, which was focused on kind of lots of articles, lots of content focused on mass market for electrification, heat pump water heaters, and other technologies. So Palmetto acquired the Cool Down, and then we learned more about some financing programs that they offer. So excited to hear about these programs, especially with heat pump water heaters usually having a higher upfront cost. So Ken, if you're on the webinar, you can take control of these slides. Perfect. And yeah, welcome, and thanks for being on.
Awesome. Joseph, thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody, for your time. My name is Kent Lloyd. It's great to meet everybody. I am a channel account manager here at Palmetto. Excited to talk to you about the Cool Down, Palmetto, and again, kind of how we're helping consumers with financing options to get more higher efficiency in equipment and upgrades in their house. Quick background on Palmetto.
Ken, I'm so sorry. Sorry to interrupt. I think I took control back of the screen. I sorry you did that before, so maybe do that again. Perfect. Okay, thanks so much. You got it.
Me now? Okay, cool. Excellent. So yeah, quick background on Palmetto. We've been around since 2010 with the same mission, basically to accelerate the world's transition to a clean energy future. And we have a lot of different programs in place to help that. But over the past 15 years, we've helped hundreds of thousands of households become more energy efficient and taking the next step towards sustainability, which is a big passion of mine, a big passion of the 300 employees at Palmetto, or based in Charlotte, North Carolina. We kind of like a couple core business units, and the Cool Down was a nice acquisition for us that kind of fits into each of these units. First and foremost, we have a large solar installation team, Palmetto Energy, that still operates and does quite well for our business. We also have a Palmetto Home, which is basically a B2C product where we can inform and educate homeowners on the best decisions they can make in their house to make upgrades and make sure they're as energy efficient as possible. And lastly, kind of what I'll talk about the most is a program called Palmetto Light Reach and Comfort Plan, which is a leasing program or financing program we have that we started out in solar about 6-7 years ago, and we're the second largest solar leasing company in the U.S. and still very active in our solar leasing program. And this year we've expanded into HVAC, which has gone very well. So we brought that model to HVAC to help homeowners upgrade to higher efficiency HVAC systems. And then on our roadmap next month is to expand that to heat pump water heaters and generators and a couple more kind of energy efficient products. So Joseph, can you just make sure that the screen, I'm still in control? You see the light bulb now?
We're seeing, it's looking great. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, cool. So yeah, we, as Joseph mentioned, they heard about us through our acquisition of the Cool Down, which is really exciting for us. Cool Down is the awesome media outlet that has 40 million users that can interact with the Cool Down and learn all kind of topics about clean lifestyle changes, home upgrades, just kind of like how they can live a better life, make the world better for everybody else. We as a company, it was a really cool, we were all subscribers and we were very active in the Cool Down. And one big sticking point for the Cool Down is the price point and affordability options for their readers was a big hindrance and roadblock to the average homeowner upgrading to a heat pump water heater or the highest efficiency HVAC system or going solar. So it was like a match made in heaven for us to kind of connect their expertise and their kind of authority they have in this marketplace with a cool product we have to help engage those consumers and take it one step further than interact with our programs. So as mentioned, I'll get back to the Cool Down also, kind of bring it all back together. But with Palmetto, we have a lot of different partners or customers. And one of those is we're very intent with working with homeowners as we are with contractors. But the Cool Down piece is really cool for us on the homeowner front because we're basically a technology company at the core of us. And we have a really cool technology in place. This is like a screenshot of our dashboard where a homeowner can go into there and can check what they're currently paying in their utilities. And we have all kinds of partnerships of manufacturers and other upgrades they can use if they want to go solar, if they're looking for higher efficiency HVAC equipment or heat pump water heaters. We want to give them as much information as we can so they can make better decisions in their house. And as mentioned, we have hundreds of thousands of customers today. So now we can use the really cool the Cool Down's 40 million subscribers and start educating them and bringing our technology to more households across the country. So the way our ecosystem works, as mentioned, first and foremost, we have the Cool Down, which is 40 million consumers nationwide that are all actively looking for ways to be more energy efficient, go electric, get off the grid. So we have that marketplace we can lean on their expertise for. And then we have our technology and our app where we can inform them on what type of decisions they can make in their house and inform them about heat pump water heaters and what the good kind of the options are, the savings are, that kind of thing. And then even then taking it a step further is what kind of my job is and what our team's doing now is then connect them to solar companies, to plumbing companies, to heating and air companies that are vetted and trusted, and then we can connect them to install heat pump water heaters, ductless units, anything that meets our kind of efficiency grades across the board to kind of go full circle there. Excellent. So again, a lot of different programs. At the core of our business, we a technology company focused on financing. And as I know a lot of you guys are aware, financing is a thing that's not going to go away, unfortunately. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. And I've been working with contractors for the past 12 years, helping them with financing in all kinds of different trades. 12 years ago, was more of education piece on, hey, you should offer financing to homeowners. It's very important, and a lot of contractors were successful at it. And then nowadays, it's more of a norm, where you'll go on most companies' websites and you see financing options, which is awesome. But it's not going to go away anytime soon. And as the cool down mentioned, as like we've seen the data, it's a big hindrance from people upgrading their water heater or whatever system they have in their house, because they don't have cash out of pocket to do it. 50% of Americans have less than $2,000 for emergency expenses. And you know, I don't know if your hot water goes out or your water heater goes out, HVAC goes out, a bit of an emergency. People aren't budgeting that money to upgrade to the most highest efficiency system. So with financing, we found like a really good marriage with the cool down to bring their consumers and help educate them on, again, the need for getting off the grid, becoming like more electric in your house, and then offering options for our contractor network at the kitchen table to then upgrade into a heat pump water heater for a low monthly payment. And all of our models are a lease, which is a really cool model. So it's third-party ownership, which I can kind of get to here on this. So basically the way our products work, and again, it's solar and HVAC with heat pump water heaters coming next month, but it's similar programs to all of them. Basically, we see a really, really good need in the marketplace for the subscription model for financing. So different from a traditional lender, traditional loan where you just paying a bank and paying interest. The way our program works is Palmetto actually owns the asset, so we would own the heat pump water heater, and then the consumer is paying us monthly. And then with that monthly payment, they have basically a subscription model or like a worry-free coverage bumper to bumper. If the heat pump water heater goes out, if the furnace goes out, everything's included through a manufacturer warranty as well as a labor warranty that we file. So it's peace of mind for the homeowner. They basically pay one monthly payment, and then their heat pump water heater is working for a 6-year lease, 10-year lease, or 12-year lease. So it's a really cool subscription model. It's best way I could think about it is like similar to the way your cell phone works. People upgrade their cell phone because they want the latest and greatest iPhone every 2 years, or like my wife every 6 months whenever the new one comes out. It's a very similar model. We want to make sure people have the most efficient products in their house, so not repairing an old system forever. They can upgrade to a nominal monthly payment that makes sense. It's the way the Canadian market works. In Canada, people think we're crazy in the US for owning depreciating assets like furnaces and water heaters. So it's basically a full bundled package where in one monthly payment, you're paying for the equipment as well as full coverage kind of baked in there. And as mentioned, we have a diverse contractor network where we help them in a variety of trades I mentioned use the product. As Davi mentioned, there's the education piece of offering financing, offering a lease program. But what we've seen is obviously the close rates are higher, selling higher efficiency equipment because consumers don't have $2,000, but they have $150 a month to budget. So it's an easier way to upgrade into better equipment that's, will save them money with cost savings long term. So we see, higher close rates, higher average tickets for our contractors we work with, and then really cool recurring revenue models where we can pay them monthly to cover the pay them annually to actually service and maintain the equipment. Yeah, that's all I had. Happy to, I went a little fast, just at looking at time, but happy to answer any questions or go drill deeper on anything else.
Thanks so much. That's huge, Ken. Super exciting. We're getting some questions coming in, and as usual, please just throw them in the chat or raise your hand if you want to come on camera. But yeah, that's really interesting. And we've been chatting about it here in the water heater world for a while, this idea of we've seen the success in solar financing and power purchase agreements where you might not own your panels, but you lease them and you get a discount on the electricity and whatnot. But and we've been missing that in the heat pump water heater world. So it's exciting to see companies getting into that. So lots of thoughts on that. But I guess my first one would be, how are you planning on, this is a different type of contractor. Plumbers largely put in heat pump water heaters, although HVAC people are as well. How do y'all plan on connecting as you're rolling out this heat pump water heater offering? How are you going to connect with this different trade? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, good question. It's more of a challenge, as you mentioned, because in the solar world, it's very common. Like leasing and solar, most solar companies are very like finance friendly. Where average plumbing company, they might not be as forward thinking as maybe solar companies in terms of financing. So we have a lot of relationships we're building with some distributors and manufacturers and kind of networking groups to like get our name out, similar to how you found us. And then we have a really cool team of people like me that are regional to connect with like the forward thinking people like contractors that are selling these heat pump water heaters that are really active and want to start pushing this, to try to find the right market for it, the right contractors to get on board. And then two, as Davi mentioned, just making sure they're on board with educating the homeowners on how this program works, basically.
Okay, cool. All right, great. Okay, so John is asking a question that's probably on a lot of people's minds. We imagine the pricing that a person, let's maybe just talk about heat pump water heaters, or focus in on them, would be based on incentives. Some areas of the country have really high heat pump water heater incentives, but how would you expect the breakdown to be? We've seen a couple leasing programs across the country, but how would the cost breakdown look like? Just, I'm sure you haven't rolled out the program yet, but any just general outlines of what people would get and what they might pay monthly?
Yep. Yeah, like basically we have a calculator where a contractor can put in, either before incentive or after incentive, they put in like their price. And then we split them a monthly payment based on whatever lease they use, whether it's 6, 10, or 12.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. If it's a $6,000 ticket on a 10-year lease, it's roughly, I think it's $130, $150 a month. So with that, and then the homeowner's obviously getting like the warranty built in, the labor warranty, or labor built in, and they get maintenance built in as well for the contractor.
Okay. So they get that peace of mind that their equipment is just going to be taken care of if there's any problems.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So the price depends on the length of the lease.
Yeah, just the monthly payment. Yeah, it's and since it's a lease, there's no actual interest tied to it. But it's comparable to one of the most common traditional financing options in home services across the board. It's a 12.99 interest rate for a period of 5, 10, or 12 years. And it's very in line with that kind of interest rate, which is obviously pushes a really low monthly payment for a long period of time, but doesn't have all the same coverage built into it.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Jessica's wondering, what areas of the U.S. does Palmetto operate in?
We are with the Light Reach program, the financing. We're nationwide. So I live in Charlotte, and then we have someone in Florida, Midwest, and then someone in Idaho, covers all California. But yeah, we are in all 50 states.
Great. I one thing I love about the solar industry to me is so mature, because whenever you get a proposal or bid, either I've got them for myself or I've looked at my friends, they have a really glossy, well set up proposal that shows you how much money you're going to be saving over time, and it just makes, even though solar is a higher upfront cost, it shows, hey, by year 7 you're going to be making this much money. And water heaters, I don't feel like we're there yet. Do you guys intend to walk homeowners through how much savings they'll have, and paint that picture clearly for them?
Yes. Good question. On this technology, we obviously don't have it in place yet, but it was built with solar in mind. But yes, we just starting now to do it with some HVAC partners, just getting the data on like average savings on certain SEER equipment, and certain heat pumps on the HVAC side. So yes, our plan is to work and educate homeowners and consumers on similar things for heat pump water heaters, for sure.
Right. Yeah. Cool. I think we answered the interest rates. Yeah, residential mechanical system leasing is a common practice in Canada to help homeowners with larger upfront costs. I guess that's more of a statement, but that is really interesting. We've seen a couple Canadian utilities, that offer leasing for this. equipment. There's a little bit of a mind or a mental shift there for American consumers. How do you think you all will help folks make that shift where they're leasing their heating and cooling equipment?
Yeah, the good thing is it's starting to happen already. So we're not, although we're early, I would say, like we're not first on the frontier with it. There's a large private equity company, plumbing and HVAC company that they lease 80% of their jobs. So they're spreading the word out there. And then one of the biggest, I don't know, it's one of the biggest, I guess, pieces of advice that we offer to homeowners is, or sorry, contractors is people are afraid of the word lease. Because like if you go to a car lot, 30% of all cars at least, and it's common. But in HVAC, for whatever reason, it's not a thing yet in the U.S. So what a lot of our companies do is they'll call it the Joseph's Plumbing Comfort Plan, or kind of it is a lease, and they're not like hiding behind that, but they use it as a value add to work with that particular company. So there's the education piece we help with, and what we're finding is. I thought it would just be for millennials like myself that pay monthly for everything and have a kid in daycare and like, yeah, I need monthly, but we're actually finding we're in a lot of different groups. There's like people that own rental properties that have their landlord has 6 properties they own and they don't want the CapEx hit of having to deal with repairs. So they just have this worry-free plan for their water heater, generator, furnace, and also older homeowners that have just a finite budget every month that don't want to worry about an expensive repair for anything down the road. They're actually the most common demographic we see is early retirees that are on a fixed budget.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Jessica's asking, so we talked a little bit about incentives, but just confirming that is factored into the lease price. So or does the consumer just get that separately, or do you all factor that in? So if there's $1,000 heat pump water heater incentive, will that lower their monthly lease payments?
Yeah, it's depending on how it works. I'm very used to this with solar. But it's either off the initial ticket price, and then it's same as then they would be paying credit, traditional financing, or leasing it. Yeah, there may be a few utility companies that we're like, yeah, everyone's different. We want to make sure like in their fine print they'll allow third party ownership, which we haven't run into yet, but that's the only caveat to that.
Okay, and then you all would process the incentives and receive the incentives rather than the consumer?
We don't today. Yeah, we simply like file the warranties. We actually don't like claim the incentives or anything.
Okay. What about getting into like VPP programs, so virtual power plant programs? If there's any option in an area for heat pump water heaters to, like Davi was saying, run on off-peak times or become a grid asset. Or do you guys do that with solar at all, or would you consider with other electric equipment?
It's a great question. I don't want to say wrong, and I do not know, but I can find out. Just maybe we can spread the word on that. But I'll ask Chai.
Yeah, it's interesting. If Palmetto has, a big, series of electric equipment, it seems like that could be a valuable tool if you can shift that load and
Definitely makes sense.
Revenue stream. Great. So I guess maybe just to sum up, so the heat pump water heater program will be rolling out in the next month or so, and then you'll be gathering contractors and installers and recruiting those folks to offer the leasing.
Exactly. Yep. Our goal is mid-December. Then yeah, similar play of kind of the getting the word out, information out, and then just finding the network to work with.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's awesome, Ken. That's exciting. Well, we'll be super curious how that goes. There aren't any, a lot of widespread heat pump water heater leasing programs. So very cool to see a company doing that. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to us, and I hope you can keep us posted on how it's going.
Will do. Hey, thanks so much.
Cool. All right. Well, we are at time. Thanks, everybody, for being on. We will send the recording and slides out afterwards, but huge thanks for participating in your questions, and let us know if you want to hear any other topics at our future meetings. All right. We'll catch y'all soon. Have a great rest of your week.